Nemean Lion?
Nemean the Lion. God, he's a hard one to rank, right? I don't like him.
But you always feel like he's better than like he want
I
to pick
feel
him
like
at.
I feel like he's better than what I value him as when I'm drafting. But it's hard. Basically, it's hard to value his afterlife effect. Is what my problem is. Like a 2/1 with Protect 1, the Protect 1 basically doesn't matter, right? Like he kills zombies and he kills Odin warriors and everything else. It doesn't. The Protect 1 is completely irrelevant unless you buff him, which is very unlikely because you almost always have better cards to buff. The random friendly unit getting Protect 1, that's what is hard for me to evaluate, and that's why it's hard for me to rank this card, but I really don't want to go higher than 2.5, and I might not even go that high.
Yeah, I think that's pretty fair. This card here, it always seems like it should be better than whenever I play it out. It is kind of. There are times where this card just like breaks games, right? Where your opponent now cannot deal with your 3-drop because it now is Protect 1. Or you played like a Hyena first and then played this and another like beast and it goes on to Hyena and now you're just so far ahead it's a joke.
We're not living in magical Christmas tree land, Nick.
No, but I mean that's not actually that uncommon. The thing about this card here though, it's really hard to evaluate.
You're talking about synergizing a card that we ranked at a 2.5 with another card that we're ranking at a 2.
Yeah. I mean, hey, if you get enough beasts, dude, in the woo, it's not bad.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I don't know. This card is a difficult one. If the Protect 1 lands, great. It's sweet. If your deck has a lot of really powerful 3-drops, go for it. Otherwise, kind of not. Don't rate this highly. Probably 2.
Yeah, probably 2.
Oogway.
I love this card. Oogway's great.
Yeah, I agree. He's pretty solid statted, 4 mana, 4/4. That just gets bigger every turn, guys. So the earlier you play him, the better he's going to be. After the first turn, none of the 4-drops challenge him, and realistically, after a couple turns, he starts trading up insanely well, and kills multiple guys at a time. So I would go with I like this card's probably like a 4.
I think I definitely want to give him a 4. If you have board, he's great. If you don't have board, he's good. There is almost never a situation where I don't want to have an Oogway. If you're really losing the game, he's not gonna like swing it all around for you just by himself. But if you're like a little bit behind, you play Oogway in the back, let him build up a turn 2. If you're ahead, you play him in the front, and your opponent that couldn't deal with that was having a hard time dealing with your board before is going to have a very much harder time dealing with it now. So he can definitely get you way ahead when you're already ahead, and he can help you come back as well. Yeah. So great all-around card, solid 4.
Snowballing is really important in this game, guys, and I feel like this is the definition of snowballing on turn 4. Like if you go like guy 2, 3, like 2 guys, and then an Oogway, or you're like guy on 2, coin Oogway.
Yeah.
Most of the time, your opponent just doesn't have an answer that's good enough. Like they can play onto the board. He'll eat everything.
Yep.
Poisonous Hydra.
4.5.
Yeah, 4.5. I agree. I will say I've taken this over the other Hydra one time because of my super aggressive Odin deck that already had a Freya.
That's fair. Sure.
That was about it. 4.5 seems pretty good to me.
Should we talk about why the Hydra is so broken, or do we just assume
Yeah, we'll go into that quickly. So guys, the thing about the Hydra is he's a 4/4 for 4, which is already, the standard stat line for a 4-mana card. And then his War Cry, which adds a poisonous card to your opponent's hand, is absolutely broken. Your opponent then has to, on their turn, skip their turn 4 or 5 a lot of the time to play that card, not adding to the board. Or what happens is they don't play the card, they take 4 to 8 damage and just lose the game. So there's no way to deal with this card in a meaningful way. If they don't skip the turn after, they're going to have to skip their turn after that and not be playing the best curve they could be playing. So Poisonous Hydra, insane.
Yep.
Rapacious Satyr?
Rapacious Satyr. This one's hard for me. I've been picking him at like a 3, like a 2.5, a 3, but I'm not sure if it's right.
I've been trying to pick him quite a bit in Arena just to see where I fall, and I feel like he's the quintessential like attention tax, right?
Yeah.
Like if your opponent's paying attention, you're gonna lose, and his card's not very good then.
Yeah, he punishes your opponent when they are either aren't paying attention or there's a lot of stuff going on. The board is very complicated, and they like forget about him for half a second. He'll punish them pretty hard. Like there's been games where I'm trying to corpse explode my opponent, right? So I'm gonna like play my zombie down. I'm gonna cast corpse explosion. It's gonna hit like 3 dudes. They're all gonna die. It's gonna be perfect. And I play my zombie, and Satyr just kills it. I'm like, oh crap.
So that happened.
Like
Yeah.
I just lost the game because
Uh,
I didn't pay enough attention.
I still think this card's a 2.
E- ah,
I can't give him a 3, dude. There's so many other cards
no,
I'd rather have over him.
you're right. I maybe like a 2.5. I like the problem is when he's really good, he's really good, but you can't actually control when he's really good. Only your opponent can do that.
You can
So if
control
your
your opponent control when they're really bad. That's about it.
Right, and that's
I
not a
don't want to
spot
be
you want to be
playing
putting
that.
yourself in. That's not a position of power for you. It's not how you control the board or the game or get the victory. So yeah, I guess 2 is fine. I'll put him at that.
Sacred Warrior.
No,
No.
no, no.
Maybe
Card's
like
a trap.
a 2 or 3 in Raw.
Not even.
Maybe no. Okay, yeah. I don't like
Nope.
this card either. You can't draft it in anything except for basically Raw or Hindu, and even in those classes, I don't like this card. So I agree with you.
You know what I really don't like is that he looks like he's ranged,
Yeah,
and he's not.
we were actually going over that. I don't know why they don't just switch the art with this and Venator.
It doesn't even say temp art.
I know.
Like this
but
is their art that they're planning on keeping with this guy. He's got a bow.
why don't they just switch the art with like this and Venator, right? Because then you have a guy who has a melee sword, Venator, who's running, and it's a Sacred Warrior, like, and then the other way you have a guy who's bouncing off a thing that has a bow. It's like
Yeah, that'd
buffing
be
that guy
fine.
under him.
Yeah. Anyway, the picture is basically just annoying, but the card is still bad.
Yeah. Sagittarius.
Should we maybe talk briefly about why the card's bad?
I don't think so. I mean, if you really like to, go for it.
Okay, so in Arena, a lot of the time what you're doing is you're fighting for board, right? You're not actually worried about going to your opponent's core for the first couple of turns. So you're not necessarily always going to have something to heal, even when you play this guy. Like, say you play a 2-drop, your opponent plays a 2-drop, like, they're going to trade evenly into each other. You try to play Sacred Warrior, okay, your 2-drops trade, you don't have anything to heal. Then your opponent plays a 3-drop, like, let's say he plays Brontes. You still don't have anything to heal. You have to go to your 4-drop. Your opponent plays their 4-drop, say they play Cupid or something, or Gladiator or whatever. If they play God, you have to keep your Sacred Warrior in the back, even though he's melee, so he's not doing anything for you. Brontes can walk up as a 4/4. He can attack your core, and your Sacred Warrior can't contest him to heal. And then if you want to spend your turn 5 healing to draw a card, spending 2 mana to draw a card, 2 mana to draw 1 card, even when you get it with Sacred Warrior, isn't that good. Like, the baseline is what, like 3 mana to draw 2 cards? That's a card in Raw, right? Like,
Yeah.
Sacred Rune or something like that. Wardstone, I don't remember. But 3 mana to draw 2 cards is like the baseline where you want to be. So if you can get a double heal off with Sacred Warrior, then it's efficient. But that's incredibly conditional because you need to have the Sacred Warrior in play. You need to have 2 dudes injured. You need to have them line up. You need to want to spend 2 mana that turn instead of developing your board in order to develop your hand. And since this guy has bad stats, you're already behind on board. You can't afford to do that ever.
Yeah, no. I think the only point you'd ever take him is if you're playing Hindu, potentially. Because you might have a pillar that's already active, and if they hit your core, you can start drawing cards without wasting your turns after that. But I don't like this card. I agree. It's bad.
Alright, what do we got next?
Sagittarius. 4 mana, 2/3 that summons a 3 cost or less minion with it whenever.
I really like this card.
Yep.
There are times you just win the game.
Yeah, I definitely like this card quite a bit. Whenever you spawn like a doomed warrior, what is it, like a doom soldier? I'm sorry, doom speaker. Every time you summon a doom speaker off of this, you're like basically in Magical Christmas Land, and you're winning that game.
Speaker. You got to dream a little bigger. You got to spawn a soul.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty fair too. I've done that out of
the game just probably ends.
Yeah, no,
like,
that definitely can.
I mean, Doomspeaker is great too, but you can spawn just a crazy amount of things that are great. Like, So a 2/3 for 4. Let's say so a 2/3 range is like worth 3 mana, right? So if you get another 3 mana card, you're getting 6 mana worth of cards for 4 mana. And the 2/3 range for 3 that we're like, counting this as is already a solid body. He does some work on the board. Especially if you have any other control elements, like if you have Odin dudes to run in to help finish off a guy, or if you're playing Nuwa and you have like the Crescent Blade to help finish off a guy later, like 3 health dudes. However, there are times you can just get housed. Like sometimes you're not playing Hindu and you get Pillar of Creation. You're never playing another structure, so you're never getting a 2/2, and you'll just have that like silly little pillar sitting on your core until your opponent decides to stop ignoring it, maybe. And that sucks, but the times when Sagittarius is really good is incredibly outweighed by the times the times when he's really bad is incredibly outweighed by the times he's really good. Because the only card, like, all you need to have happen for him to be better than average is to get a 2-drop. And then he's overstated for the cost. Alright, so what do we got next?
Alright. I agree with you.
We didn't actually rate him. 3.5, 4?
Yeah, 3.5, 4 sounds pretty good in the epic slot. It seems pretty sweet. Satyr Pathfinder. I hate this card. I think it's really good.
He's hard for me to rank. Why don't you take this one?
Alright guys, so a lot of times your opponent will just play this card, and if you're playing like Chinese for instance, now you can't use your hero power or any of your removal for the rest of the game because you want to keep parrying on board with creatures. It's the same thing as like if your opponent is playing 2 cards, split up their mana costs on their later turns, you can only play 1. So if you don't have big threats every turn to be playing, you're going to fall behind as long as this guy stays alive. So your opponent will just play 2 cards to your 1.
So what do you think, 3.5?
Yeah, 3.5.
Sure, yeah.
Scion of Doom, give a friendly unit +2/+0 until end of turn, 1/2 ranged. I like this card in Norse because you can buff your little guys who are running at haste speed. He's alright.
I like mine too.
Yeah, mine's not bad either. I mean, that requires your zombies to live though and be able to actually get a hit in. So I don't know. I think that's like a 2 or 3.
I say 2.5, 3.
Yeah, 2.5 sounds fair.
I think he's very good because of the utility he brings. He gives you a lot more options. Like, say you have a Xiaofeng on the board and your opponent played I don't know, some generic guy with 5 health. Your opponent played an Oogway or something and he grew 1 turn or something. You want to kill that guy, you can Scion of Doom it down. Your opponent played an Aokwang. I don't know how to pronounce it. The 4/5 Chinese guy that makes all of your spells do 1 extra damage. Your Xiaofeng runs into that guy. Hey, your Brontes runs into that guy with a Scion of Doom, kills it. Your opponent thought they were. This is the great card for your opponent thought they were safe, and you punish them for it. This is a great card for taking advantage of misplays by your opponent or overconfidence by your opponent. If they don't respect this card, they're gonna get punished when you have it. So it's a very good tool to have in your kit.
Don't think it's often worth the card. I mean, like Venator is in the same kind of slot rarity-wise, and that card's insane, right? And
Hey,
gives you a body.
2 mana is very flexible.
Yeah, I mean, it's not
it
bad.
lets you do other stuff with your turn too.
But I'd rather
like,
just have straight removal.
Well, yeah, but like, sure. But most removal in this game is going to be rated at what, like a 4?
Yeah.
At least. Like, removal is just so good.
I think my main point here is like, guys, draft to your curve before you pick up this card. Pick up this card if you don't have other good options.
Yeah, don't. He's not a 2-drop, and he's not a 3-drop, and he's not a 4-drop. He's like, you play him on turn 5 with a 3-drop to go with him, to like help advance your board a little bit and trade up. So, or later in the game, But don't play him early for no reason, and don't play him for core damage. He's a tool to be used for trading.
Spartan.
Definitely worse than his brother Gaius.
Yeah, I would agree. The Protect 1's pretty nice in your core sometimes. It can prevent a lot of damage from getting hit there. It stops all of those Odin tokens that we all hate so much. But
so does every other creature.
2.5. No, I mean, they actually can't. If they hit the core, it doesn't do any damage.
I know. But like, if you just put a creature in front of your core, like on turn 4, they're not going to be sending their dudes into your core.
No, that's true.
Like, in the late game when you draw them and you're like, oh no, I'm at 6 health, opponent is just making tokens. Like, okay, sure, you have a Spartan. that like does a thing. Yeah, I agree with 2.5.
They're up.
This
I've
guy,
drafted this card like twice. I think the card's terrible.
yeah, I don't like him. I like every once in a while he's almost a removal spell.
Almost.
But if your opponent, all your opponent has to do is run away for 1 turn, suddenly this guy de-stealths, can't do anything because nothing's in range, and he just dies after that.
Or Rolling Thunder him, or any of the other art cards that deal with things that are
Yeah,
itself.
or like any cleave if your opponent has a soul or a Hao Yi or like a Bull Demon King or what, or even an Essentius, however you pronounce that card.
This card's bad, guys. Stay away.
Yeah, 1.5. Don't pick it.
Stone Guardian.
At least a 4.
At least a 4? Yeah,
At
I would
least a
agree
4.
with that card. There's not many other commons or any card in the same slot that I would want to pick over him very often.
Yeah,
He could take a game over by himself, guys. The range growth every turn is insane. You can almost just sit him behind your core and just wait until you win the game.
Yep, he can win you the game all by himself. Granted, you need to do a little bit of setup. You need to do a little bit of work to make that happen. But if you resolve him, you're not down on board. Your opponent can't kill him immediately. You can very easily take over the game. One of the great things to know about this guy is that even after just 1 turn, when his range is 4, you can trade into other range dudes without them being able to attack you back. You have to be 4 spaces away, because how it works is if you're within your opponent's range, they can attack you back. That's how attack backs work. So that's why range guys can attack melee, but if they're next to him, they'll still get attacked back. Stone Guardian works the same way with other range dudes. So if you're farther than 3 spaces away, he can attack for free, basically, and not get hit. But you need to make sure that you count it very carefully, because if you do get attacked back with your Stone Guardian, you lose him. That's a really big blow.
Yeah, for sure. No, this card's insane. Easy
Yeah,
4, maybe higher.
He's basically the only card in the game that can trade into ranged units without getting attacked back.
I think Dishonor is like probably the only common or card that I'd take over him. Dishonorable.
So 4.5 then?
Yeah, like a 4, 4.5.
Yeah.
Suku.
Sugu. I don't like Sugu in draft.
Really? I think this card's like a 3. It's pretty easy
Really?
to get activated, yeah.
3 is
You actually end up drafting a lot of beasts just because they're not that bad stat line wise.
Yeah, but even with charge, she's like
pretty good removal spell.
Yeah, okay, so she's like a conditional removal spell for 5 mana sometimes.
Yeah, or she does 5 damage to the core when you need it. I don't know. This card I think is
that doesn't sound like a 3 to me.
Maybe 2.5.
Well, okay, sure.
Satyr?
Satyr. I give him also 2.5.
Really? I think this card's like easily a 3. He makes Mayan and Odin way better. He does allow like all your range guys to be quite a chunk good better. The fact that he has haste also lets him trade into things with your guys. You got to move him really easy to buff your units when you want to.
But you need to have a pretty sizable board for you to get more than 1 attack buff out of it.
I mean, if you play him on like turn 3 even, like after you make a 1/1, like that's still 3 damage. You could kill a guy potentially pretty easily. You trade into Harpies with your token. It's good.
In Odin, you can play him on 3, but everywhere else you need to be waiting.
I don't know.
And you need to win the board without him, basically.
I mean, I think he helps you win the board. I think he makes you win the board quite often.
So let me rephrase. You need to get on the board without him, and then he can help you take over the board. But that's like many turns down the line.
Yeah, but I mean, it does make it so that like your 3 drops trade into 4 drops and so forth and so on very often.
Okay, sure. So 3. I like it in constructed for Odin. I like it in Odin. Yeah, the rest of the time,
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. This card is hard to always have active when you need to have active, and in draft you need to be active all the time almost for it to be worth it.
Wait, hold on. That says 2/3. Did that get buffed?
No, it didn't.
Thracian guys is a 1/3, not a 2/3.
This is old photos, guys. Sorry, it's hard to get the cards.
So, the reason he's good at all is because he's one of the only 2-drops in the game that starts with 3 health, and that allows him to trade into 2-drops, other 2-drops, very profitably, which is why you don't mind using your hero power on your turn 2 after you play Thracian as Odin to run in, kill their 2-drop. You still get to keep your 1/1, and you get to keep a 3/1, which can challenge their 3-drop while you then proceed to develop, and that gives you some card advantage. If he only had 2 health, this card would be terrible. And that's basically it. So in Odin, I give him like a 3. The rest of the time, maybe like a 2. He's kind of hard to turn on.
2 Morden.
2 more.
I don't like this card in draft. Most of the time, the epics are a really powerful slot. You can pick something much better than it. On top of that, if your opponent ever silences this card, it's basically like the worst thing that's ever happened. 4 mana to play 1/1s, guys, that don't affect the board immediately. Not so good.
I give him like a 2.5.
Maybe.
Most of the time he doesn't get silenced.
Like a 2,
But
I don't know.
Also, most of the time, there's epics that I want to pick over him. So I think 2.5 is a good spot for him.
I don't know. I think 2. Venator. This card is a powerhouse, guys. Probably in like the 3.5 category, maybe 4. He's probably not just quite a Stone Guardian, but he's very close. The fact is that you get to play this card, and for a 5/3 for 5 range is not even that bad. And then the fact is that you get to make another minion trade up, or another ranged unit super powerful. So.
Or sometimes you get to like not only trade up, but you get to keep your dude afterwards because of the health buff that your opponent wasn't counting on.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying. Trade up with the thing. We're good.
Well, trade up is usually your 2 drop kills their 4 drop. That's trading up. This guy does like sometimes you don't even have to trade. You can just kill a guy profitably.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much to say about this card other than it's insane.
Yeah, sure. We'll say 4.
War Behemoth. This
Easy
card,
4.
as far as an epic goes, yeah, I'd say this is probably a 4. There's not a huge amount of epics you want to take over this card, guys. This thing is a 3/6, which is pretty solid on the board to start with, and then it starts getting you card advantage. The problem with a lot of card advantage in this game is that you don't want to play it because it gets you so far behind on board. Cards that are just like 3 mana draw 2 cards is terrible. Whereas this guy
most of the card advantage engines
is
are bad.
draw 2 cards most of the time and a 3/6, so nasty for 5, just great.
He trades, he draws, he keeps board control, he kills your opponent's dudes, he does all the things. He is a monster
Great
and should
on
be
5.
treated as such.
4. Very solid 4.
Yep.
White Tiger. I think this card's like a 2 or 3.
I'll give him like a 2.
Yeah. He's pretty good against, like, he can actually grow substantially large in the back end and then help to pressure your opponent, so he's not bad.
What's nice about him is when you're on the play and you play him in your front line, it means your opponent they have to play in the back. If they have a 2-drop that they want to live. Because the only other 2-drop that won't die to him, I think, is Thracian. I don't think there's any other 2-drops that naturally have 3 health. So, and I don't think there's any other 2-drops with naturally 3 damage either. So if your opponent tries to play a 2-drop here, your White Tiger just kills it, gets to live, gets to grow again. So it basically prevents your opponent from doing anything worthwhile on their turn 2 unless you force them to spend their coin. And if you're forcing them to coin out a 3-drop, that's fine. You can like move your White Tiger back a little bit, proceed with your 3-drop, and then you can bring the White Tiger out later as like an auxiliary guy to help support your main push or something.
Yeah, no, and a lot of times like they'll be coining out their 3-drop, and then you play your 3-drop, and then after that, from the rest of the game, you're on their 4 before they're on their 4.
So maybe we rate this guy a little bit higher than 2.5.
Yeah, I think 2.5 is very fair.
The only problem is when you draw him in the late game, he's pretty bad.
Zabin Scout.
Depending on the deck you're playing, this card can be a house.
Yeah, I agree. This card here, guys, in Odin or in Hindu can be pretty good. It makes a lot of zombies off of your pillars and your 1/1s.
Not that I advocate drafting Hindu. You probably should stay away from that.
He does have a little bit of synergy with Apuj as well. Well, you're not going to get your guys off of the zombies. Sometimes you have Raise the Grave, and if you've made 3 zombies off of him, let me tell you, it's good enough.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be the end of the review, guys. We're back at the start.
Wait, we don't have a number for Zabin Scout yet.
No, Zabin Scout?
If you're playing a token generation class, he's probably like a 3.5.
Yeah.
And the rest of the time he's probably like a 2 3/4.
Yeah.
or a 3.
We're not gonna do quarters. It's either 2.5 or 3.
Okay.
All right, guys. So thank you for checking out this video. This is NPC Naut with Naut Gaming. Check us out at Twitter. And that's about it.
And also on Twitch, streaming.
Yes, Twitch streaming for sure, guys. NPC Naut on Twitch as well. Come hang out with me. Ask questions. Learn to draft.
Thanks for watching.